Just come in to bring my niece to the Plaza Catalunya, to the center of the city, just before 5 o'clock. You know, all of a sudden there's a rush of people, and it was painfully familiar. You knew immediately what was going on.
16-year-old Rome Schubert survived being shot in the head this morning and is recovering tonight at his home with his family.
Lawrence, I just talked to Rome's mom. She's an ICU nurse. She finds out her son has been shot in the head. She knows what the statistics are. She knows how desperate the situation might be, and she's driving there, and you can just imagine what's going through her head. And yet, here he is, Rome Schubert, on his front porch tonight.
Yeah, well, the first one, I was like, I really didn't know what the first one was. Second one goes off. Now I wasn't sure what that one was, and I peeked a little bit, saw a pistol in his hand.
You actually saw the gun?
I did. I saw a pistol in his hand, and once I was on the ground, I saw the pistol, charcoal gray pistol, and then I did notice a shotgun on his shoulder.
Let's go back to that moment. When did you realize you're in art class, it's the first period of the day? When did you realize something was very wrong?
Normal day as it started out, and then loud bang, my ear starts ringing, another loud bang follows that one. I didn't know what it was. Mine was going crazy, had no idea what was going on. I jumped under the desk and flipped it up in front of me. A lot of more loud bangs. I just was kind of freaking out at that point. Everybody was yelling, everybody was scrambling. We peeked around, some more loud bangs, and I was kind of freaking out at that point. And I look over at the door, and I guess he had walked out for a little while. I ran out the door, jumped over a wall, started running into the parking lot. Had no idea I was even shot until I looked down at my shirt and dripping blood everywhere. I was running fine, I was talking, had no idea that it even went in and out.
Do you think you were in a state of shock at that point?
Definitely.
Are you surprised by that?
I'm definitely surprised, because I was just checking on my friend, and he said, "I'm all right, you go, you go." I had no idea that he ended up having been shot in the leg. But when a friend comes up to me, I said, "I got a lot of blood. You think somebody got hit in front of me?" He's like, No, you got shot. You got shot in the head. There's a lot of blood coming from your neck." So I immediately took my shirt off, put it against my neck, and held that pressure to it, and just took off running.
That's the son of an ICU nurse who knew what to do.
So the odds are very slim.
The doctor said that much, and it could have been really bad.
If the bullet would have been anywhere up, down, diagonal, side to side, that I could have been paralyzed or killed.
It's like something out of the movies. It doesn't feel real. I thought it was just banging on like a locker or something like that. I thought somebody had started getting into a fight or whatnot. But then I heard everybody else start screaming, and then there was everybody started running and stuff. I saw people getting shoved down. One kid actually lost his shoes trying to run. Yeah, there was a lot of blood everywhere. It was horrible. I saw there was a lot of blood everywhere, and then people were getting shoved down, and so I just, I took off. I started running. I was just scared for my life. It's like something out of the movies. It doesn't feel real.
Horrible, because I was just bringing my niece here and didn't know what was going to happen. My daughter was in the Parkland when that blew up.
When I heard the crash, I looked up, and like a sea of people, some were running left, some were running right, some were running in the middle, and I quickly realized that I had to get out of the way. And so I unfortunately saw bodies flying up in the air and realized that I had to go to my right and not my left, because the car was coming to the left of me. There was a gentleman, an older gentleman to my left, and when I jumped to the right, the van hit him and he went flying. I saw maybe a 14, 15-year-old boy, like a deer in headlights. He just froze. I pulled him behind a pole with me, and we crouched down together on the ground. I somehow grabbed my phone and thought I better call my family and my children to tell them I just started running with her on my phone, away from the area.
Room, and I heard really loud booms, and I didn't know what they were at first. And then I realized what they were when I heard screaming. And I got up and I ran, and we went on to the stage, and we hid backstage. Then the alarm started going off, and we stayed there for a while. I was very, very scared. I had to have someone keep me calm. I managed to keep calm through it all. There was another girl who was just freaking out. They were struggling really hard to keep her calm. It was really scary.
Was there a part of you that was like, this isn't real, this would not happen in my school?
No, there wasn't.
Why so?
It's been happening everywhere. I've always kind of felt like eventually it was going to happen here too. So, as soon as I heard the shots, I called my mom, and she came down to get me, and she was waiting outside for me, and it helped a lot to have her on there to keep me calm. I told her, Mom, there were gunshots. I heard 4 shots, and it was kind of, it was real. It was real this time. It wasn't real last time.
He was rather outgoing. I think he got an award in acting before, and I didn't think at all. I had come into school, I just gotten off the bus, and I was about to go put my things in my locker. I have a bottom locker, and I heard a loud pop, and I turned around and I saw him, and he was just going, and he was completely passive, and he was just shooting, and he shot one young man, and then he shot the girl next to me, and she fell down, and as everyone was running, I could just hear her screaming, "Help me," and she was screaming, help me," over and over, and I just stayed down, and like maybe a minute or so passed, and I looked back up, and the hallway was empty, and my legs were all dusty from where I shot the ceiling, and the girl next to me, she was bleeding, she'd been shot in the back, and I looked to my left, and there was the boy he had shot. I looked to my right, and there down the hall there was another boy, someone I assumed that was shot, and it was just very scary, very surreal, and I couldn't believe what was happening. I thought, well, not my school, surely. I had gotten on the bus, and I sat down with my friend, and we were laughing. A boy behind me was telling jokes and stuff, and the boy in front of me, he was laughing, telling jokes, and he rides my bus. I've talked to him before, and then I didn't think that in 30 minutes so that he would be dead, because it was the same boy who shot that was riding my bus, and I'd seen him, he was laughing, he was a regular person, and 30 minutes later he had passed. It was horrifying.
Unfortunately to say, the media helps a lot, right? It's the oxygen. Because never in history, I think, have so few people with such few primitive means caused such fear and suffering.
A videographer for our affiliate WPSD had dropped his daughter off at school just before the shooting. He wound up streaming this video in the moments after from a security guard shack where he was sitting with a few students. Here's how he describes his daughter's call to him.
I can tell you that phone call will be one that I'll never forget. Her words, "Daddy, there's been a shooting."
That videographer also spoke with the students who he was hunkered down with, and we'll hear from them in our later newscast today.
Yeah, we're up on a high floor apartment, but I can't believe this has literally just happened. There's still a really heavy police presence. The police are running right now. There's literally tens of police all running right now. Oh my God, they've got someone on the street. They have someone on the street. There's like 5 police officers on top of one guy. Everyone's running out their windows. There's 10 police officers running towards him. They have him on the ground. They're all on top of him. I can see hitting him. They're all piling on top of him. This is crazy.
Talk about overusing literally. I see people say it like 3 times in one sentence.
I think everyone is still probably a bit shook, like myself, from the whole situation. You just don't expect it to happen.
Santa Cruz County man is one of the lucky ones tonight. He was shot in the neck in Las Vegas. The bullet is still there tonight.
And it went through my ear and entered right behind my jaw, and then traveled down to a few inches above my collarbone.
The bullet is still sitting inside Jeff Christensen's neck.
It was for just like a burning sensation, and I knew I got hit. It was just complete insanity. The entire time was just chaos.
16-year-old Rome Schubert survived being shot in the head this morning.
It came in this way through the back of my head and then exited right there.
How lucky do you feel?
Yeah. The doctor said that if it would have been any up, any down, any left, any right, that I would have been paralyzed or killed.
I mean, when the doctor tells you something like that, what do you think?
I just think I'm probably about the luckiest guy alive right now. Just the odds are very slim.
The doctor said that much, and it could have been really bad.
If that bullet would have been anywhere up, down, diagonal, side to side, that I could have been paralyzed or killed.
It was like, I think I've been shot in the head. It went along my skull and came out about 3 inches later.
So where did it go?
It came right in the back, right in the center of my head, and it came out about 3 inches later along my skull.
16-year-old Rome Schubert survived being shot in the head this morning.
It went in through the back of my head, just right, like kind of in the middle of the back of my head, and then came out right here.
What did doctors tell you about that injury?
They told me that this was the perfect scenario for getting hit in the head. Just the odds are very slim.
The doctor said that much, and it could have been really bad.
If that bullet would have been anywhere up, down, diagonal, side to side, that I could have been paralyzed or killed.
Jonathan Smith was shot in the neck as he saved more than a dozen people.
The bullet is still in his neck. Doctors say it's too risky to remove. He believes if it wasn't for an off-duty San Diego police officer who came to his rescue, he might not be here. He took this selfie from the hospital, but it's this picture taken by the Washington Post that's gone viral. The bullet is still in his neck. Doctors say it's too risky to remove. The only souvenirs he wants to keep is this concert bracelet still on his wrist and the one cowboy boot he didn't lose during the mayhem.
Todd Riley pointed out his wounds after surviving the Las Vegas massacre.
This is the one that was just pouring. This one was pumping.
Todd says he had 8 or 9 wounds from bullet fragments from his legs to his stomach.
I looked down and the upper wound on my thigh is just pouring blood.
He went back to the doctor here in Colorado yesterday, where he learned that the pieces of shrapnel will have to stay in his leg.
They could be practicing a code red. They talked about doing this. They even talked about police coming on and, shooting blanks, to see what would happen, and I said, it's kind of weird.
She said, I don't know if this is real or fake, because we had rumors going around the school that the police would do a fake code red with fake fake guns, not actual, but sounding real. And I thought at the beginning that this was it was all a drill. It was just a drill.
And then I saw a man in a black tactical helmet with a dark shaded helmet on, and he had a pistol in his hand, and we exchanged gunfire. He saw me and I saw him, and I was standing behind a pickup truck for cover, and we exchanged. I'm like, it was surreal to me. It couldn't be happening. I could not believe it.
I was about 2 feet away from my door. All of a sudden I heard gunshots in the stairwell, which is about 20 feet away from my room. And then kids were screaming, and then I suddenly saw the shooter about 20 feet from me, standing at the end of the hallway, actively shooting down the hallway, just a barrage of bullets. And I'm staring at him thinking, why is the police here? This is strange, because he's in full metal garb, helmet, face mask, bulletproof armor, shooting this rifle that I've never seen before. I don't know when I decided it was the right time to close the door. I grabbed the handle with both hands, and that's when I got nicked or grazed or whatever you call it.
So a bullet hit your arm?
Yes. As I'm closing my door, I'm shouting at my next door neighbor, Mr. Scott Beagle, but he couldn't see the shooter. I had a good visual of him, which is why I yelled at him to shut his door now. I heard him shoot a barrage of bullets into Mr. Beagle's room. And then he came to my room and shot about 4 or 5 shots into my room, breaking the glass of my door. There's a rectangular piece of glass. And I heard him continuously shooting down the hallway. And I never really knew when he left because we just thought he was still there.
You thought it was a drill, and you only knew it was real from looking at headlines in your phone?
Yeah, on our phone. We saw it on Twitter once it was eventually trending, and that's how we knew this was anything but a drill.
Just the odds are very slim.